Hi friends, my name is Nandita. I am from Andhra Pradesh.
Good morning, dear students. In this section, you will learn about respiration in organisms
From CBSE syllabus, chapter 17, class 11. Human respiratory system is a network of organs and tissues that help us breathe. The primary function of this system is to introduce oxygen into the blood and expel carbon dioxide from the body. As they defined above, the human respiratory system consists of a group of organs and tissues that help us to breathe. Aside from the lungs, there are muscles and a vast network of blood vessels that facilitate the process of respiration. Let us see what are those. Features of human respiratory system. The respiratory system in humans has the following important features. The energy is generated by the breakdown of glucose molecules in all living cells of human body. Oxygen is inhaled and it is transported to various parts are used in the process of burning food particles, means breakdown glucose molecules at the cellular level in a series of chemical reactions. The obtained glucose molecules are used for discharging energy in the form of ATP. Respiratory system is endodermal in origin. The respiratory system composed of conducting portion and respiratory portion. Children, now let us discuss about respiratory tract. Children, let us have a detailed look at the different parts of respiratory system and their functions. The respiratory tracts in human is made up of the following parts. The conducting, first let us discuss about what is conducting portion and respiratory portion. The conducting portion provides a passageway of air and function to condition the incoming air by warming, moistening and cleaning it. It consists of nasopharynx, larynx, tracheae, bronchi, bronchioles and terminal bronchioles. Now let us see what is respiratory portion. The respiratory portion consists of bronchioles, alveolar ducts and alveolar sacs, serves to get rid the body of carbon dioxide and pick up the oxygen. Children, let us see the parts of human respiratory system. Our respiratory system consists of the following parts like nose and nasal cavity, sinus, mouth, throat, pharynx, voice box which is also called as larynx, windpipe which is also called as tracheae, diaphragm, lungs, bronchial tubes, bronchi, bronchioles, air sacs means alveoli and capillaries. Children, now let us discuss each and every part of human respiratory system. Nose. Humans have external nose which are divided by a framework of cartilaginous structure called the septum. This is the structure that separates the right nostril from the left nostril. Tiny hair follicles that cover the interior lining of nostrils act as the body's first line of defense against the foreign pathogens. Furthermore, they provide additional humidity for inhaled air. External nostrils. For the intake of air, a pair of external nostrils lead to a nasal chamber through the nasal passage. Nasal chamber. Nasal chamber which is lined with the hair and mucus to filter the air from dust and dirt. The nasal chambers opens into nasopharynx which is the portion of pharynx, the common passage for food and air. Now let us discuss about pharynx. Pharynx is a passage behind the nasal chamber and serves as the common passageway for both air and food. The nasal chambers opens into a wide hollow space called the pharynx. It is a common passage for the air as well as the food as we discussed earlier. It functions by preventing the entry of food particles into the windpipe. Now let us discuss about larynx. The two cartilaginous cords lay the framework for the larynx. It is found in front to the neck and it is responsible for vocal as well as aiding respiration. Hence, it is also informally called the voice box. When the food is swallowed, a flap called the epiglottis folds over the top of the windpipe and prevents the food from entering into larynx. Larynx is composed of cartilaginous ligaments, muscles, and mucosal surface. It helps in sound production and hence it is called the sound box. It is the houses for the vocal cords which are paramount in the generation of sounds. It prevents indigested solids and liquids from entering the respiratory system. Larynx is also called Adam's apple in human males. During swallowing, glottis can be covered by a thin elastic cartilaginous flap called epiglottis to prevent the entry of food into the larynx. Let us discuss in detail about epiglottis. Epiglottis is a flap-like structure that covers the glottis and prevents the entry of food into the windpipe as we discussed earlier. Besides epiglottis, other cartilages of larynx are thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, which are in a shape like a signet ring, and adrenoid cartilage are present. The epiglottis is an elastic cartilage which serves as a switch between the larynx and the esophagus by allowing the passage of air into the lungs and the food into the gastrointestinal tract. Children, have you ever wondered why we cough when we eat or swallow? Talking while we eat or swallow may sometimes result in incessant coughing. The reason behind this reaction is the epiglottis. It is forced to open for the air to exert outside and the food to enter into the windpipe, triggering a cough. This is the reason why we get coughing while eating or swallowing. Children, now let us discuss about trachea. Trachea or windpipe arises below the larynx and moves down to the neck. Trachea windpipe is straight tube extending up to the mid-thoracic cavity, which divides at the level of fifth thoracic vertebrae into a right and left primary bronchi. Trachea carries air between the larynx and bronchi and it is supported by incomplete rings of C-shaped cartilage in its wall. The rings of cartilage makes the wall non-collapsible. The trachea extends further down into breastbone and split into two bronchi, one for each lung. Now let us discuss about bronchi. The trachea, as we discussed, splits into two tubes called bronchi, which enters each lung individually. The bronchial tubes are lined with a tiny hairs called cilia that moves back and forth, carrying mucus up and out. Mucus is a sticky fluid that collects dust, germs and other matter that has invaded the lungs, and it is what we expel when we sneeze and cough. Each bronchi undergoes repeated divisions to form the secondary and tertiary bronchi and bronchioles, ending up in a very thin terminal bronchioles. Let us discuss about bronchioles. Each bronchus is further divided into finer channels known as bronchioles. As the bronchial tubes passes through our lungs, they divided into smaller air passages called bronchioles. The right lung has 3 lobes while the left lung has only 2 lobes to accommodate room for the heart. Each terminal bronchiole gives rise to a number of a very thin irregular walled and vascularized bag-like structures called alveoli. Human body has about 600 millions of alveoli. Let us see what is alveoli. The bronchioles terminate into balloon-like structures known as alveoli. The alveoli made up of a simple squamous cells provided a huge surface area of gases exchange. The alveolar walls are extremely thin, means about 0.2 micrometers, and are composed of a single layer of tissues called epithelial cells and a very tiny blood vessels called pulmonary capillaries. Blood in the capillaries pick up oxygen and drop off carbon dioxide. The oxygenated blood then makes its way to the pulmonary vein. This vein carries oxygen-rich blood to the left side of the heart when is pumped to all parts of the body. As the cells use the oxygen, they make carbon dioxide that goes into our blood, and your blood then carries the carbon dioxide back to the lungs when it is removed from your body when you exhale. Children, let us discuss the air enters into the lung. First we inhaled air through mouth, nose or nasal chamber, then it passes through larynx, then it goes to glottis, then it transfers to epiglottis, then from there it reaches to right and left bronchi, from there it reaches to bronchioles to alveoli. The number of alveoli, as we discussed, is 600 millions with a surface area of 100 square meters. Children, the surfactant is a liquid surface tension lowering agent which prevents alveoli from collapsing during the respiration. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli compressed the lungs. Children, now let us discuss about lungs. Lungs are the primary organs of respiration in humans and other vertebrates. Humans have a pair of lungs which are sac-like structures and covered by a double-layered membrane known as pleura. Lung is the primary respiratory organ. They are located on the either side of the heart in the thoracic cavity of the chest. Anatomically, the lungs are spongy organs with an estimated total surface area between 50 to 75 square meters. Lungs are covered by a double layer called pleura with the pleura fluid between them. It reduces friction on the lung surface. The total pleura membrane is in close contact with the thoracic lining, whereas the inner pleura membrane is in contact with the lung surface. A small space called mediastinum lies in between the two lungs. The right lung is divided into 3 lobes and the left lung divided into 2 lobes. The left lung is smaller than the right lung. The primary function of the lung is to facilitate the exchange of gases between the blood and the air. The anatomical step-up of lungs is in thorax is such that any exchange in the volume of the thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung. Such an arrangement is essential for the breathing as we cannot directly alter the pulmonary volume. Children, now let us discuss about diaphragm. The diaphragm is highly muscular and fibrous dome-shaped muscle. Important function of diaphragm is to aid in respiration. It separates the thoracic and abdominal cavity.
Breathing in other organisms. Children, as we discussed, animals like elephants, lions, cows, goats, frogs, lizards, snakes, birds have lungs in their chest cavity like human beings for respiration. In this module, we will discuss how respiration takes place in other organisms. Breathing in cockroach. Cockroach is a terrestrial organism found in damp areas. Cockroach is an omnivorous insect feeding on food grains, cereals, and other animals. They can consume any organic matter. The respiratory system of cockroach is like a network of tracheae known as a tracheal system. They respire through the small openings called spiracles. These openings are regulated by the muscular sphincters. They breathe in oxygen rich air through the spiracles, which opens into tracheal tubes. The tracheal tubes are the network of air tubes meant of smooth exchange of gases. They are found only in insects. The air then rushes towards the tracheal tubes and then diffuses in the different body tissues and cells. The trachea is then subdivided into thinner tube called as tracheoles. This tracheoles contains a network of fluid which flows throughout the body of the insects. The air rich in carbon dioxide rushes towards the tracheal tubes and it is finally exhaled throughout the spiracles. Now, let us discuss about the breathing system in earthworm. Earthworm is a reddish brown terrestrial invertebrate. It does not have a backbone. They are found in the upper layer of the soil and improves the soil fertility. It feeds on the dead and decaying matter present in the soil. They do not have any specialized respiratory system, but they respire through their moist skin, limy skin, due to the moisture present in the soil and the mucus present on their bodies. It picks up oxygen from the water present in the soil using the hemoglobin present in the blood of the earthworm. During the rainy season, the soil is too wet. They creates a problem in the respiration of earthworm. Hence, they come out to the surface and respire comfortably. The moist skin makes it easy for the gas to pass through it and get into the body of the earthworm. Now let us discuss about breathing system in frog. Frogs are short-bodied, tailless amphibians. They are called as carnivores. Frogs have dual respiratory systems that help them to breathe. They have a pair of lungs just like a human beings. On other hand, they can breathe through their moist skin, limy skin as well. When their skin is moist or when they are in water, they breathe out their thin membranous skin, which is permeable to both water and gases. When they are on land, they take air into their lungs by pushing it from their mouth with the closed nostrils. Now let us discuss about breathing system in fish. Fishes are vertebrates living in water. The rate of breathing of aquatic animals is higher than the terrestrial animals, means the animals which are living on the land, because the percentage of oxygen present in the water is less than the percentage of oxygen present in the atmosphere. So, higher rate of breathing enables them to take up more oxygen. Fishes have certain projections on their body known as gills. These are feathery organs. These gills are connected with blood vessels for easy exchange of gases. These gills help the aquatic species like fishes to utilize the oxygen dissolved in water. The gills continuously keep on moving, that enables it to take the water. It takes the water through its mouth and forces it through the gills. As the water passes through the thin walls of the gills, the dissolved oxygen moves into the blood vessels and travels to the different cells and the tissues of the body of the fish. Whales and dolphins are mammals and breathe air into their lungs just like we do. They cannot breathe underwater like fish can, as they do not have gills. They breathe through nostrils called as blowholes located right on the top of their heads. Whales and dolphins use their lungs to breathe air also. That is the reasons why they come to the surface of the oceans to take air in. Blowholes are surrounded by muscles that keep the hole closed when the whale or dolphin is under the water and opens it. The animal is at the surface and needs to breathe. Aquatic crabs like fish have gills to get the oxygen from the water. Land crabs have special adapted gills that work on land. Some types of land crabs even have lungs, so their gills work to get out the water as long as they are kept moist.